Good afternoon, my name is James Maydew and I'm Head of Global Listed Real Estate at A&P Capital. Today I'd like to talk to you about the importance of ESG in everything that we do within our investment process. We have a quality philosophy, which is quality outperforms through a real estate investing cycle. And importantly for us, quality is the first step in our three-stage bottom-up process. And the E, the S and the G are central to that quality score. We believe real estate businesses that are supported by well-structured governance and have a focus on the environmental implications of the business of running real estate is vital to understanding a long-term trajectory and delivering on business fundamentals. So when we look at the E, the S and the G in our investment process, there are multiple factors that go into scoring each of those components. So to give you an example of each of them, on the environmental side of things, we want to have as many energy efficient buildings in our portfolio as possible. That's because everybody wins. Most importantly, the environment wins with lower emissions going into the atmosphere. The tenant wins because their overall costs of occupying that building from an outgoings perspective is significantly lower. And then from our perspective as an investor, the landlord gets the benefit of having a greater pool of tenants who want to be in that building, but also who are willing to pay a higher rent for being in that building because of its ratings, but also because of the overall outgoings are lower. So rent can take a larger share of the overall occupation cost for a tenant. When it comes to the social side of things, real estate inherently has development and construction as part of its day-to-day building blocks. So it's important to understand the track record of on-site construction and the safety of those workers to really understand how this company operates. So we look at that area very closely. And then on the governance side of things, we represent minority shareholders. So we are laser focused on looking at the board structure and the independence of those directors. Representing minority shareholders is what we want to see and what we represent. And over time, what we see is the stronger the governance, the stronger the board, the better the outcome for minority shareholders. So when you look at our overall portfolio, it has a lower carbon footprint than the broader benchmark that we use, which is a great thing. And the reason we have that is because we are very focused on investing in companies that are laser focused on the E, the S and the G. Now, Goodman Group is a fine example of that. Goodman's is a global landlord of industrial buildings. It's also a developer and a fund manager. No matter how many of the rating systems that you use globally, Goodman's rates highly on the E, the S and the G. If you look at Sustainalytics, it's got a very high rating in the industrial cohort. If you look at GRESB, it has one of the highest ratings in all industrial landlords around the world. They've done that by embedding E and S and G into their strategy. So if you look for their goals by 2025, they have a target of being carbon neutral. They have a target of being 100% renewable energy by that date. When you look at the supply chain and the importance that Goodman's have in the overall supply chain, they are looking to improve and hone the overall ethics that are occurring in supply chains around the world. They're a very important component and driver of that plan. And then when you look at something such as gender equality, it's a really important part of the Goodman's business. They are aiming for a 50-50 split between males and females in their workforce, which adds diversity of thought and ultimately will deliver better outcomes for us as investors. My team and I love what we do. We are very privileged to go out every day and engage with some of the smartest, most entrepreneurial minds that exist in real estate globally. And it's a wonderful insight to sit down with some of these smart minds and engage with them on how they're thinking about the future. And all of the smart money continues to embrace and evolve to a better ESG orientated world. That makes me, makes our team, and hopefully that makes our investors feel better about how we are capturing capital and putting that to work for the greater good of the world and society. It's vital that you have allocators of capital thinking through all of these different components, because it truly does make a difference, and we want to be part of that difference.